Okay, in this video I'm just going to show you how to complete the pair of items assignment. So we're in Illustrator, and the first thing we want to do is create a new document. So go File, New. Make sure we set our document size to A4 and set our units to millimeters, and click OK. Now the first thing it asks us to do in our handout is to create a square that is 80 millimeters in square. So what we're going to do, in our tools on our left hand side, go to the shape tool. Sometimes it's pre-selecting the ellipse. If so, click and hold to get to the rectangle. And once we've got our rectangle, we can drag that out onto our canvas. And we'll see at the right hand side, just near our mouse, it's giving us our dimensions in millimeters. So approximately get that to 80 millimeters square. Just going to zoom a little bit. Now, to set that exactly, at the top we've got our width and our height. This might be under the transform menu, so if it is, have a look for that. And set that to 80 and 80. Okay, so this square is our boundary, and we don't want anything to be larger than that square. Okay, so in this example, I'm going to be tracing around this Twitter bird. So I'd recommend if you haven't thought of anything to use, go and grab the Twitter bird off Google, right click, save that image into your documents, and use that to trace around. This will give you a nice feel for different types of curves that we can create. When you import an image into Illustrator, you'll realise that it first of all comes in as a linked file at the top here. We can keep that as a linked file if we want, but because it's linked, it's referencing back to the original image in our folder. One way we can get around that is by embedding that image. So if you click on the image still and click embed, that embeds that image into our current file. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I want to resize that, make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to click on the corner, hold down Shift to keep that aspect ratio the same, make that a little bit bigger, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this to the back so that I can see my my square. A couple of ways we can do this. We can either right click and go to Arrange, and then under Arrange we can have Send to Back, send that to the very back of the canvas, or on our right hand side we go to our Layers, expand layer 1, and you'll see I've got my image and I've got my path, and I can drag my image underneath my path. If it comes up like this, here is my path of my square. You'll see that it's got a stroke which is black. That's the line that goes around the outside, and it's been set at 1 point. I've also got fill color, and my fill color here is white. So to change that fill color, go on that little drop down menu, go to None, which is the very first colour. It's got a red stripe across it. Go to None, and there you can see I've taken away the fill colour, and we can just see our Twitter bird through it. Line it up so it's in the right place. Now, one of the main tools that I want everybody to use and get used to is this pen tool, which is the third one down on the left hand side. So start by clicking the pen tool. Now, when we first go into the pen tool, often you will see at the top we've got no stroke and no fill, which means when we start drawing things, it's quite hard to see where it is. What I'd recommend, in the fill colour, drop down, set that to black, so we can see, in the stroke colours, drop down, set that to black, so we can actually see where we're drawing our lines. Okay, so I'm just going to zoom in, so I can see. Now, the pen tool takes a little bit of you getting used to understand how it works, but it's all based on the drag handles. So first of all, I'm going to click on my start point. So I'm going to start here. That's my first start point. Now I know that I probably can do this curve in two with just one single point in the middle, just from a bit of experience. Okay, so as you get used to using the tool, you'll get used to knowing how many points you need. The aim is to have as minimum points as possible to get this curve shape. So I'm going to go for a second point here in the middle, and I'm going to click and hold, so use my left mouse button to click, and holding onto it, not letting go, to drag it into the rough position I want, so about there. And now I'm going to do the same at this bottom corner. Click, hold and drag that one out there. Now, what you'll notice is I'm going to continue to go all the way around the bird. But when I do my second one, so when I'm coming around here, you'll notice that that faint blue line, you'll notice that that's going at an angle. So it's being influenced by this drag handle. So the drag handles influence the next curve as well as the current curve. If we don't want that influence, you see here it's making a big arc around the bottom there. If we don't want that, just undo that. We can click on the end point. If we click on the end point, this little V sign comes up, and that just makes it a nice sharp edge. So I can then click again, and you'll see when I let go in a second how that's now given me the point. So again, click the end of the point if you don't want to have that influencing nice curve to get a nice sharp point. So just going to go around doing exactly that, clicking those endpoints to create sharp points. And last one. Oh, I forgot to click that endpoint. Click that endpoint. Oops. So what I've actually got there is this drag handle's twisted, and I'll come and fix that in a second. I'll show you how we fix that. Couple more. Making a nice curve. Okay, here again, and now I just need one in the middle, one there, and one down here. Now again, I'm going to show you, so this one, the handle has influenced this curve here, and it's bulged out. I'll show you how to get rid of that. Again, we'll go back and edit this in a second. So I'm just going to finish off putting in my points as I go around. I'm trimming back. Trim back. And put in my points. Okay, so now I've finished drawing it. There's a few things that I need to sort out. So once you've finished, always go back and sort out your curve. We've got two mice here at the top. We've got a black mouse shape and a white mouse shape. The black one is for selecting the whole. So for example, if I use a black mouse, click on this line, drag it around, drag that line around there, you can see I'm dragging everything as a whole. If I use the white mouse though, and click on our shape, this actually enables me to select individual points. If I click on that point there, oops, this point here, you'll see I get my drag handles up and I can modify my curve. So what I want to do here is this curve is being influenced by that drag handle, so I just want to pull that drag handle in a little bit to tweak that. Tweak that around a little bit, something like that. There we go. If I just zoom in here, what we want to always avoid is little things like this. So we've got a little kink. So again, we often get little kinks in it, which is really annoying. So again, just tidy these up. So click on those points, click on the drag handles, get rid of those drag handles, and move that around. So we get rid of that kink. So we unkink it. Finally, the only other thing here, I've got this one here. So I'm going to click on that point there. You can see this drag handle is quite long. That's influencing that curve. I can click on those drag handles and I can bring them back into the point, and by bringing them into the point it gives a sharp edge. Okay, so I'm relatively happy with that. That's the outline of my bird. I'm going to click on my blue image now and just drag that out of the way. I don't need that anymore. So just pop it somewhere on your canvas. What I might do now is I might put an eye on my bird. So I'm going to go for another shape here, click and hold on my shapes. Remember to add in, think about any shapes that you've got. If you've got anything that's a star or a polygon or an ellipse or circle or anything like that, just go and grab a shape. Don't need to draw that from scratch. I'm going to drag an ellipse, draw an ellipse, something like that. Again, you can see I've got no stroke there, so set that stroke. Go up to your stroke, set that to black, so we can see where it is. Click on the black mouse so I can actually select that as a whole thing and not just its points. Drag it into the position I want, and on the corners, you can click on a corner and drag that to rotate that around. So that's its eye. I'm just going to add in an eyebrow as well. So something like this. Click that back. There you go. And again, go back into your white mouse to edit those curves. Okay, I'm not going to spend very long editing this, but obviously you need just to spend a little bit of time tweaking those, okay, they can get them in the right position. So something like that. Final thing I want to add on this one is I want to add in its breast. I'm going to add in, like, you know, sort of a robin's breast here on the end. So again, I'm going to go into my path, go to my pen, click to draw the shape that I want. And then go to my white mouse, because it's a bit rough. White mouse, tweak that a little bit, bring that round, drag that in, and get that to be a nice shape. Okay, something like that. Okay, once I'm at this point, what I want to do now is I want to create one of these, because we're creating a pair of items. I want to create one of these for the water jet cutter and one of these for the laser cutter. So I'm going to use my black mouse. I'm going to drag over and select the whole thing. Go edit, copy, edit, paste. Just zoom out a bit so I can see where we are. And I'm going to drag my second one, my pasted one, across. So you see now I've got my two items. One will be for my water and one will be for my laser cutter. Let's have a look at the laser cutter first. Just going to zoom in for that one now. Now what I want to do is in this breast area, what I think I might do is I might create a kind of a nice little pattern that can be engraved or etched onto that surface. And I'm just going to use a geometric circular pattern. So you can create patterns really easy using the shape tools. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to get a few circles. So I'm going to draw one, Control C, Control V to copy and paste to speed up instead of having to do lots of mouse clicking. Control C, Control V. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a little circular pattern just like this. Okay, so these could be as feathers or something like that. Now I've got these overlapping circles, and actually what I would like to do is I'd like to chop off the bottom of it so you kind of just see the sort of the feather effect. Hopefully this will make more sense when I do it. So with any shape we can always go into our white mouse, and if we click on that shape, click on those points, we can edit those points, but we can also delete those points as well. So I'm going to click on that bottom point and hit delete. I'm going to hit on this bottom, click on this bottom point here and click delete, and finally this one here. So I'm going to delete all of those, and then I'm just going to move that one down slightly so it intersects, and I'm going to start to create what will be a kind of a feathered texture. To speed things up, once I've started, I can use my black mouse to drag over it, Control C, Control V, copy paste, and paste another set in here. I'm going to just pick up one of those, Control C, Control V, to pop this one in here in the middle. Oops. Okay, so I'm going to start to build up that pattern. So again, just make it most efficient way possible. Once you've created a few, select all of them, Control C, Control V to create the next bits, and then just add in the few ones you want. So Control C, Control V, just add in a couple on these edges there. Okay, that'll do to start with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that. Now, if we move it at the moment and then we let go, when we click back on it, you'll see that they're now all, I have to select them all individually, which to be honest is a bit of a hassle. So if I just undo that, what we can do though is we can group them all together. So once they're all selected, right click, go to group. Now when we click on it, we move that whole group in one go. So I'm going to move this group over here, and I'm going to hover over the corner and I'm going to rotate that round. I'm actually going to make it a little bit smaller, and I'm going to insert that here. Now I want a few more, so I'm just going to copy and paste a few more. I'm just going to pause the video and copy and paste a few more. Okay, so welcome back. I've just copied and pasted a few more items to fill the area that I would like to create. You'll also notice that I've just selected all of them, all of the ones I've copied and pasted. So I'm going to group all these together again now. So right click, group. Now what I want to do is, because I want to engrave these, I'm just going to change their line colour. So from black, this time I'm going to use red. So what I'm going to say is that anything that's black will be cut out and anything that's red will be engraved. Now obviously that looks a bit of a mess. Oh, I missed one. Turn that one to red. And add that to the group. Okay, now that looks a little bit of a mess. And what I want to do is I want to use this black line here that I drew earlier to trim that back, and so that just that little breast area at the front is engraved. So what we can do, first of all, we need to move this to the front, this black line to the front. So click on that black line, right click, arrange, bring to front. Now we're going to use a clipping mask to create this area, this clipping area. But what you'll notice is that if I move this black thing away, you'll notice it's an open loop, so it's not closed up in any way. What we need to do is we need to close it up first by matching that curve to the end there. So go to the pen tool, click on that endpoint and just draw a line roughly matching that existing point. Okay? Something like that. Drag it out. You'll see that I've now closed that loop up. So it's now a enclosed loop. Once I've done that, I can use that to trim back my pattern. So I can click the pattern, shift click the loop that I just drawn, right click and make clipping mask. And that will trim it right the way back to that pattern there. So there we have it. That's how I can create some sort of pattern or texture and trim it back to the size that I want. Now, for my laser cutter, this for me is fine. Any line that is black will get cut, and anything in red will get engraved. So I'm going to engrave that area there, etch that effect there, and cut everything else. If I look at my water jet cutter, we can't do engravings because the jet of water cuts right through the material. So we can only cut things out. To be honest, there's nothing really that I don't want to cut out. I don't want to cut this black line here because it would trim off the bottom of my Twitter bird, so I'm going to delete that. But everything else I will let to be cut out. Okay, so there we have it. A nice simple way of creating a Twitter bird that can be laser cut and water jet cut as well. So if you're struggling for an idea, just copy this, go and grab a picture of a Twitter bird from Google, use the pen tool to outline that path, maybe create some sort of texture, and that's on the laser cut one, and for the water jet one, just leave it as a single black line for cutting. Thank you. The only thing I just forgot to mention is to save it, go File, Save, and select wherever you'd like to save your work. Leave it as Adobe Illustrator for now.